Hi, I'm Alex, and today I'm joined by Kate Hervey, who is one of our senior project managers at Jomablue, and we're going to be diving into the importance of planning your event communications and how you can leverage some of the tools at Jomablue to help you get the most out of this and drive a really great attendee experience. So to start us off, I thought we'd look at a real sort of top level, high level consideration of what event planners need to look at when they're designing communication schedules for their events, Kate. So yeah, what's your sort of experience when people are planning registration, whether it's a paid event or a free event? How does this impact things like the timing of comms and how many communications you should be sending out to your attendees?
Yeah, great question. So the communication schedule or plan should be thought about right at the outset of any event organisation. If it's a really long lead time, which normally is more the case with a paid event, then the comm schedule has to be done accordingly. And then for a shorter lead time, obviously, you would still have a communications plan, but you probably would be sending out less comms in a more compact fashion. The reason why you'd be sending more comms for a paid event is because you may be sending reminders for people to pay if they have a registration platform which allows you to delay payment, for example, or obviously you're wanting to send reminders to try and boost those sales.
Sure. And then in terms of that timing for actually arrival experience at the event, do you want to bombard people in the month leading up, the week leading up? What's the sort of best balance in your experience in how many comms you send out and when you should ideally send things like the e-ticket email or SMS to people?
Yeah, so we would normally be sending out comms, 1 to 2 weeks maximum prior to the actual event date. Ideally, we'd be sending out like an information email, or what we call a know before you go, about a week out from the event, giving the registrant information like how to get there and the program, link to the program, the speakers, the sponsors who are going to be present, things like that. You'd send out about a week out. And that also gives peace of mind to people who've registered. They're sort of waiting for that information. As a general rule of thumb, most events across the board do something like that, whether they're corporate or public events. And then the e-ticket would be sent out 1 or 2 days prior to the event, because you want that to be at the top of their mailbox or at the top of their phone in their SMSs, something they can easily retrieve when they get on site to check in.
And in your experience, what do attendees prefer when it comes to receiving comms about an event? Do they want more or less emails being sent to them?
Yeah, so that's a tough one. It's really subjective. But generally, as a general rule of thumb, people don't like to receive too many comms, and we would only normally really send out between 4 and 8 comms per event.
In total?
Yeah, in total. In total. If you send out too many comms, people become numb to the comms and they just start to ignore them.
Yeah.
And you really don't want that, because you're needing your comms to be punchy and efficient, and each one of them needs to be for a specific reason. If you start creating many, many comms, the importance of each one of those comms is going to go down.
A bit diluted, yeah, sure. And so then moving back to that arrival piece, so it's show day. What do you find has the most effective open rate? Is it EDM? Is it SMS when you're sending out e-tickets to attendees?
Yeah, so definitely SMS. I would say 80% of people use the SMS e-ticket when they check into an event. However, we do send by email as well, because some people don't have a phone number, and we sort of do a combination of the two. So we'd send out like the EDM e-ticket 1 or 2 days prior to the event, and then the SMS the morning of, because it's a really instant medium in terms of communication.
Sure. What are some of the pain points in your experience that organisers have when it comes to planning their event communications?
Okay, so often people leave organising or planning their comms until the last minute. There are also very commonly a lot of stakeholders involved, and there's a lot of back and forth when it comes to copy around the comms. And people just don't prioritise the comms from the outset. So that's a couple of the things that play a part. But we have to keep in mind that if you don't have a good comms plan, it will ultimately have an effect or a negative effect on the registration of your event, and in turn the attendee rate. So planning comms from the outset is really, really important. Being time poor is obviously a big issue for event planners. We're always running around like headless chicken. So the Jomablue platform helps that, because the portal or the software is extremely user-friendly, and it makes the process of organising or creating your comms a really simple one. Anyone who's not even tech savvy would be able to use the platform. Simply dragging and dropping to create your comms is really simple. You can also duplicate existing comms to create similar comms or different versions of the same comms for example, different categories of registrants. So you can have, for example, a template which is an information email for sponsors, which advises sponsors to arrive on site the day prior to the event to set up their stand. And that sort of information will be different to a general attendee, for example. So you can simply duplicate that comms, update the copy, and your second comms is done. So it's a really simple way to get that ticked off in an efficient way.
So Kate, you're now going to show us some of the cool features inside Jomablue. Would you be able to just give me a high level, what are the key topics that you're going to be looking at, and then dive into a little bit more detail on each of them?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to be showing you various templates that you have within the portal, showing you how to create an EDM. Then I'm going to show you how we schedule an email or an SMS, and then I can show you some analytics. So basically the dashboard within Jomablue, which enables you to see all the information around your
click-through rate,
yeah, click-through rate, open rate, success rate, amount of recipients, things like that.
Awesome. Alrighty, so take us away, Kate. What are we looking at first then?
So here is just a list of all the different templates. So you can create lots of different types of emails, surveys.
You mentioned earlier some of the examples of email types. It could be know before you go,
Yeah.
could be the e-ticket email.
Exactly.
Are there any other types of emails that we could send through Jomablue?
Yeah, you can send through surveys, so a post-event survey which enables
Yep.
you to collect information about the event from the attendees.
Great.
And then you can use those similar types of comms using the medium of SMS as well. So within templates, you can create a new EDM or a new SMS.
So this is the editor that we're looking at now?
Yeah,
right?
so this is the editor, and you can use something that's an existing template, or you can start from scratch.
So I could duplicate or use from a library of available options.
Exactly.
Great, okay.
And it's very simple. Basically, what you do is you start with rows, you create, or you just click and you drag and drop the row, enabled to then add the content to that row. So
there's no coding required here. This is all
nothing.
drag and drop.
Yeah, all drag and drop. So very, very simple to use. Once you've copied or dragged over a few of your rows, you just jump into content, and you can simply there add in titles or images. So you can browse an image from your computer. Videos, which you wouldn't require a URL for. So you just have the video stored online.
And if I've got YouTube or Vimeo, do I just add
Exactly.
the link directly there?
Very simple. So you just click onto that
I can
video,
see you can paste it in.
and you can paste it in.
Cool.
You can also add things like HTML or icons or buttons, which are obviously 100% customizable, so you can change the color of them and things like that.
Cool.
To be branded to your event, for example.
Okay, so once I've added the content to my email, I've added images, buttons, all the copy that I need, I've clicked save, or how do I send myself a test so I can see what that actually looks like in my email server?
Yeah, so that you can do that one of two ways, but the most direct way from when you're creating the EDM or the SMS is you can click on through the editor on actions, send test, and then you simply add in your email address to send yourself a test.
How easy.
Yeah, and obviously that's something we really recommend because you're wanting to test to see if the images are loading correctly or if the URL links are working or the videos are working, things like that. So it's highly, highly recommended that you are testing those comms prior to sending them or scheduling them to send to a bulk amount of people.
Awesome. Alrighty, so what's next?
So then what you want to do, you've created your comms, you've tested your comms, you want to schedule it.
Yeah, so we're now looking at campaigns, Kate. Tell me a little bit more about what we're looking at and what are the types of campaigns that you might schedule for your event.
Yeah, sure. So on your campaigns page, you have a list of all the campaigns that you've already scheduled. You've got the name of the campaign, the type, the status, so it could be sent or cancelled or queued to send in the future. And there's different ways of scheduling your campaign. So very easily, you just click onto Campaign Builder if you're wanting to schedule a new campaign or a new email that you've already created. From there, you can schedule it one of two ways. You can set it as a trigger campaign, For example, you can have a comms trigger upon a reaction or an action of somebody on site. So if someone checks into the event, we could have a SMS sent to them for a media person, for example, to say, hi, media number one, your blue room or your green room is down the hall on the right, welcome to the event.
So that's an awesome way to personalize that experience then
Exactly.
for different categories of arrivals. Okay.
And obviously you can use merge tags, so you can address them by their first name and things like that. The other way is to schedule comms for a given time. So right now you can schedule something to send out right now, and that's really highly valuable if you're wanting to do stuff on the fly on site. Change of room, change of program, things like that.
So that's your mass sends of an EDM. So for the e-ticket, for example,
Yeah.
that would be a scheduled comms that you send?
Yeah, scheduled comms, and you can also set that obviously to a point given in time in the future. So there's lots of different options within the Jomablue platform.
And can you just run us through quickly then, how would someone go about scheduling a campaign?
Yeah, so you just jump into the campaign builder, you select the type, which is, an e-ticket or a general or a
So
survey.
it's step by step.
Yeah, step by
Platform
step.
lays it out
Next,
for
you
you.
select the channel, so either SMS or email. You select the template that you've created. You send yourself a test, which is an obligatory step in the process. Again, just like a crossing the T's and dotting the I's step.
And could I send that test to anyone? Or
You can send it to anyone. So if your customer is wanting to see that and have approval of it, obviously it's much nicer if you're receiving it as the customer would, so to receive it into your inbox, not an image or a screenshot of it. You can send that to whoever you want, and you can send numerous tests as well.
Great. So
Then
it's all pretty self-explanatory then,
Yeah.
step by step.
Then you name your campaign, you set your sending rules, because you can send campaigns to different categories, for example, or you can send campaigns to people who have not yet checked into the event, or if you're wanting to send a survey to those who haven't yet completed the survey, you don't want to send it again to those who already have, you can set up those sort of sending rules as well.
A lot of flexibility then.
Yeah, and then you literally just schedule it as to when you want it to send, if it's a trigger one or now or sometime in the future. You review all the information and then you schedule it.
And then lastly, we know that people want to see how many people are clicking and opening their emails. Where
Yeah.
can I get that information?
So we have a great dashboard within Jomablue, which is called the Monitor Campaign, and there's various tabs within that page. Analytics, performance, messages and logs. Analytics is a great one. It gives you a really great oversight into the status of the comms, how many comms have been sent, the progress rate, the open rate, click rates on various aspects of the comms, things like that. But you can also go as far as looking at a log of the different comms, or jumping into someone's personal record and seeing which comms they've opened and not. So when you have certain people saying to me, I've never received that email, we can say we actually sent it to you 4 different times on these dates, things like that.
That'll be very handy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty, well, I guess just rounding out that interview. Kate, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Is there any final thoughts, words of wisdom that you'd offer to event planners that are considering using Jomablue or have an event upcoming?
It's a great time saver. It's really good and really important to get those comms planned from the outset. Don't leave it as a last afterthought. We're all really busy, but the comms schedule is extremely important for the success of your event.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you very much and